to Swarm the 402. Welcome to the Nebraska Hawkeyes. These guys are brave. They're Hawkeyes living in enemy territory. Listen, these guys are way past their prime, but they're still Hawkeyes. They're spreading the Hawkeye hype to all of Nebraska. The frost advisory is canceled. Corn Huskers, more like corn suckers. Are you ready for this podcast? Let's go Hawks!
All right, welcome back to the Nebraska Hawks Nest, your Hawkeye oasis located in a 3-7 Nebraska desert. It's time for another Swarm the 402 podcast. We are excited to be back. We're playing Illinois this week. We're back with all the boys. We got Jerry, Russ, Kyle Schlicker, the kicker, and Matt Meyer. Guys, what's going on? It's good to see all your beautiful faces.
Good to be back again.
It's good to be back.
Still.
Now, I think Kyle has transitioned. Isn't he technically Schlicker the picker now and not Schlicker the kicker?
Nice. Yeah. You know what's okay. It's been fun throughout all the years hearing all the different words that rhyme with my last name.
Maybe some old college nicknames that, maybe some girls gave you. That's...
Yeah, those and just, my creative friends, man. They've got some great...
Can you guys hear Kyle okay on the audio? He sounds like really quiet to me.
Check.
I can hear him.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's All right, let's do a recap, guys. Last week, some of the performances were really good. Some of them not so good. We're going to start up at the top of the mountain. Pretty lonely place to be right now for Mr. Matt Meyer. Finished 4-2 last week, looking really, really good. That noise was him shutting the door on the competition. He's got a 66.6% winning percentage, still holding strong at the top. Russ last week, very uncharacteristic 3-3. Russ usually is right up at the top battling with Matt. That dropped Russ just 1 percentage point below Matt at 65.7%. So we got a new leader, which is impressive. And then
tight race.
A little bit of a tight race here. And then we got Kyle. Kyle finished 2-4 last week. He's at 50% right now. So things are we're starting to rub off on him a little bit and drag him down. And then Jerry was 3-3, so he's at 48% right now. So what do you guys think about those standings so far?
That's it.
I still think
Makes
Matt's
sense.
going down.
I think
I'd like to say I know it, but I don't. I'm just having fun.
I think I've got a hell of a batting percentage if I was playing baseball. So,
hey, that's a good way to look at it. Way to stay positive, Jerry. Matt, what's the secret to the success so far, man? I've been trying to tell people all year long, if you're gonna be betting the farm on college football this year, hop on the Russ train or the Matt train. And so far, you've been really coming through for people.
Yeah. I guess, like I said before, I'd rather be lucky than good. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. All right.
Shit for brains will do if you're lucky.
Hey, so things are going pretty well for a few of you guys. I wanted to ask you guys right now, there is an absolute shitstorm right now of coaches getting fired left and right. It's nonstop. we just saw Virginia Tech make a change. LSU's made a change. USC, Washington State. All kinds of coaches just getting the axe, and we're seeing it more and more early with the early signing period. They're not even letting anybody. If you're not going to come back next year, you're gone. Nebraska fired their whole offensive staff. I want to know from each of you guys. I'm putting you on the spot here. I didn't prep anybody for this, so we're going to start off. I want to hear what Russ has to say first. Russ, if Kirk Ferentz was to announce at the end of the season that he's going to retire and he's going to be moving on, who would be – you're the athletic director at the University of Iowa. Who would be your number one candidate that you would go after?
Wow.
Probably Mel Tucker. I mean,
Really?
It's just impressive as hell what he's done at Michigan State this year. And he's really got those kids believing in scrappy play and, really a lot of focus on defense and, just a, good, clean play, not a whole lot of mistakes. So that's probably would be my pick right now.
I think that's a wonderful pick. His coaching style would really fit Iowa, I believe, if that were to ever happen. So Mel Tucker has just come on strong, and he has turned that team around quick. There is not pretty solidified rumors going right now that Michigan State is working on a 10-year, $95 million extension for him right now to keep him because LSU's come knocking and they're trying to get him to fly down for an interview, and Michigan State's trying to get ahead of it. So apparently Michigan State agrees with Russ. Jerry, you're getting ready to do this. Who are you going after?
I think they keep it in-house. I mean, I don't know any of these guys, but I mean, you look at like a Jay Norvell out at Nevada, you look at like a Mike Stoops at Kentucky, and I don't know. I see him trying to keep it in the family. I don't think it's going to be a Brian Ferentz, and I don't know. I don't know if Phil Parker wants to be the guy. I don't know. He's been a great coordinator for a long time. I could see maybe a LeVar Woods, but I think they keep it in the Hawkeye family moving forward somehow, some way, at least when Kirk does decide to move on.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the right move is to do that. I think with everything that they've done with the coaching development that Kirk's done, especially in the latter part of his career, I would be shocked if they went outside the Iowa family. But,
it's strictly a hypothetical. I realize what you're asking, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I would assume they would keep it in-house, or like you said, a Jay Norvell. Mr. Schlicker, you're the AD at Iowa right now, hypothetically. Who's your number one guy that you're going after?
I would, first of all, I'm confident that they probably already have a short list, top 3 guys that they already have. And if I'm the AD, I would 100%, first of all, ask Coach Ferentz where his head's at. But I have a feeling they also keep it in-house. If they don't keep it in-house, they keep it in the state of Iowa. And I think them already talking to, or if not already talking to the, some of the most successful high school coaches in the state to take over. I don't know. That's what I would want, I guess. If I were the AD, like B played there and on the AD, I would want that. I wouldn't want someone who isn't familiar with the Iowa way. The culture that we have, the culture that the whole state has. I wouldn't want someone brand new coming in. But I would also think it'd be kind of cool, man, to just start over fresh, give a young guy a hack at it, give a young high school state title winning coach a hack at it, see how he does, give him 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's I'm a fan of that too.
Well,
What's
Matt,
the coach's name at Western Iowa? That JUCO that kee's winning all the national championships.
I don't know. I can't think of his name either.
He might be a good choice.
Or at very least as an assistant, to bring him on. That is starting to become the recipe for success, Matt, down in Texas. We're starting to see a lot of these Texas high school coaches get assistant positions at the big programs. Texas Tech just hired as their new head coach a Texas high school football legend. You're starting to see that. So, Kyle might be a little bit ahead of the curve there, thinking about really successful high school coaches to help with those recruiting routes. Matt, who do you think, man? I'd love having a Spitfire like Matt Meyer sitting behind the athletic director desk, like making just like quick decisions. All right, get out of here. You lost. You're fired. Matt, who you going after? I want to see. I really
happens right now. If it happened right now, I think I'd talk to maybe Bob Stoops and see if he's got a few more years left in him. I mean, he did a lot of good things at Oklahoma. I know that they were kind of tired of him at the end there, kind of gave the new guy the reins, but I don't know. Maybe give him a shot.
All right.
Kind of see where the program's at, and if he could build off of it. He was a good coach down there, and he knows the Iowa roots, the Iowa ways. And I mean, I like the young gun too, giving him a shot, but just throwing something different out.
Well, go ahead.
I was just saying it's risky, but I kind of like that. Sometimes you need a fresh start. You never know.
Yeah. Well, and Stoops clearly has something left in the tank. He was going to be coaching in the XFL, so he had a head coaching position there. So clearly there's some fire still there. And, working on Fox Sports all the time, the guy's still out there. He's still active. He's not wanting to cash it in yet. So,
he's got a deep love for the Hawkeyes too, man. He's on Fox Sports yelling, "Go Hawks." I mean,
Go Hawks.
Who wouldn't want that passion as your head coach? That's awesome.
Yeah. He, I think if he's interested in the job, you got to let him have a shot out of it. Oh, there's the Matt crack of the beer, brought to you by Meyer Brewery.
Was that coordinated? Was that Matt and Kyle at the same time?
I did one just before him. I did my second.
Oh wow, that was extra, man.
Man, that's team unity.
We should plan this better, Kyle.
It's scary. You're gonna think too much alike.
I'll hold the next. So see if you're ready.
So anyway, well, Adam, we had a big week at the Hawks Nest. So if I can kind of take over the controls here and kind of recap our week, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I even did a little PowerPoint. I mean, how professional is that? But anyway, so we got our weekly recap here. When we started the week, we had the big win over Minnesota. Adam and I got to watch the game together with Bowden and Brody. We had a great time. It was a good time. Always good to bring the pig home. So
I'm a little sad that you were there. We don't get to play Where Was Jerry this week.
Well, there was incentive for me to be there because, I was getting tired of the abuse every week, man. Anyway, well, this next one's real impressive. I didn't ask him I don't think he's going to mind, but man, look at Kyle this week.
Ooh,
look at Kyle going out, man.
Damn.
We keep giving Kyle about being the GQ guy, but man, that's Mr. and Mrs. Chicago. I think the kicker actually outkicked his coverage on this one. So,
that's awesome.
Very nice.
So anyway, good deal, Kyle. I don't know what the big night was, Kyle. Can you divulge, or is it are we keeping it in house?
It was no. I got invited to a billionaires gala for Cancer Treatment Centers of America. It was like a cancer fundraiser.
Okay.
It was over the Osh. We took a Uber Black all the way up to Barrington. I mean, it was on this giant compound, and then we were out till like 2 a.m. Man, I mean, it was worth renting the tux.
Jeez.
All right.
Awesome. You guys look sharp.
Yeah, we don't. My wife definitely outdoes me all the time. That was. I'll admit, I look pretty good there. That it's. That's our living room, obviously, with the S in the background.
I kind of wondered if you didn't go out and fight crime at night the way you look in that tuxedo, man. That was like
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But anyway,
billionaires gala, Bruce Wayne. I mean, it kind of sounds fitting.
The pieces are starting to fit together.
I get it.
That LED dance group for the One American Idol a long time ago was there. Ruben Stoddard was there.
Wow. And
it was just over the top. The filet mignon steak we had was like dusted in 24-karat gold flakes. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I think I had fried bologna that night for supper. So thanks, Kyle. But anyway.
I fried up some shit on a shingle. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Brings you back to high school days.
I would have omitted this slide if I had to realize how bad it was going to make me feel about my life. So I haven't seen 2 a.m. since for years now. So anyway,
That's not entirely true, Jerry.
At least that I remember. So
That you remember.
Anyway,
That'd be another podcast, Jerry.
That's probably the time Jerry has to get up and pee in the middle of the night. 2 a.m.
One of them.
That's the intro. It's called Jerry After Dark.
10:30. Anyway, so those that didn't know, Adam had a big appearance this week on 1460 KXNO Des Moines radio spot. Had a nice deal. Talked about the Hawk's Nest and our Swarm the 402 podcast and all things Iowa Hawkeyes in Nebraska. And he sounded like a natural that he always does on these podcasts. So good job, Adam.
Thank you, guys. It was a lot of fun. Murph and Andy they're amazing guys, and I had a ton of fun. So I always have a good time talking about college football, but those guys, I think, take as much joy in laughing at Nebraska and talking about the Hawkeyes as we do. So it was a lot of fun.
And as Keith said on his interview, when you interviewed him earlier this year, it's all about sports fun, and they reiterated it on there. I mean, it's not about taking it too seriously like the 5 to 10% of people out there that go way overboard on it. But
yeah.
So anyway, it was a great spot. We will shortly in the next day or so have it uploaded to our website for any of the viewers out there or the podcast listeners to listen to it. It's also available on their website right now. And great job, Adam. You're a natural. So
thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so then Russ was in Chicago on vacation this week too. And Russ was in Chicago, and he said he told his lovely wife Kim that he wanted a photo with the background with the skyline, and so she took a charter out on Lake Michigan and got a picture of him. So that was he had it going. Wow. Was it a good trip, Russ?
Matt,
it was a great trip.
Yeah,
Matt. Oh, look ahead! It's Rossira.
Look up ahead, Rossira.
Anyway, sorry about that. So, Russ had a trip to Chicago, got a picture with the skyline,
I was thinking the same thing, like, before you even said anything.
I knew you were.
But the funny thing is, you can't see it in this picture, but right where my cursor, right about where my cursor is right there, if you pose in, there's Kyle on the beach in his tuxedo again. That was amazing. He is Mr. Chicago.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Well,
man, I tell you.
Bruce Wayne had to fight Russzilla, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The bat signal went up because Russzilla was in downtown.
Oh, my beer just went halfway up my nose. Oh, man.
Anyway, so it was a big week for the Hawk's Nest. It was, the only thing was Matt, you weren't in there, Matt. You must have had the nose to the grindstone last week.
I laid low, watched that football game, and just kind of took it easy.
Whew. That was good. That was good stuff. Shout out to our production team and our research team for putting that together for Jerry. That was that was nice work.
There could be more as we go on. You never know. But let's go ahead and get into our games.
I like all the surprises.
that was fantastic. All right. I'm going to be thinking all night. Oh, look ahead. It's Rossilla. All right, guys. Back to business. All right. Starting out, the first game we're going to be talking about is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the Big Ten. Probably the biggest. We got 9-1. Mel Tucker and Michigan State, like we just talked about. Mel Tucker's working on one of the biggest college football contracts of all time, going to 9-1 Ohio State. This one's going to be on ABC. Vegas doesn't really think that Michigan State has much of a chance. Ohio State's favored by 19. I think a big reason why, and I want to get your guys' thoughts obviously on this, but Michigan State allows 329 passing yards a game. And the quarterback at Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, he's thrown for over 3,000 yards this season, 30 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. The guy averages 353 passing yards a game. So that secondary is not real strong. Okay. But they also have some upsides. They got Heisman candidate Kenneth Walker III, who has been running all over everybody. Jerry, what are your thoughts on this one? Who are you going to take? Michigan State at Ohio State. Ohio State favored by 19.
With the points, I'm taking Michigan State. I think they're having a heck of a year. What Russ said about Mel Tucker earlier, I'm taking Michigan State against the points there. So
all right. It just goes to tell you that when people bring in a coach, you never know how well they're going to do. They'll bring somebody in that's a sure thing. Scott Frost was a sure thing. Didn't turn out that way. Mel Tucker, his last year at Colorado, didn't even finish above 500, but they saw something in him that, he was able to improve them so much. Russ, who you taking in this one? Michigan State at Ohio State.
I'm going to follow Jerry's lead there. I think I'm going to take Michigan State plus the 19. I don't have a whole lot of belief really in for sure the rush defense for the Buckeyes this year. I think they've got a chance to probably put some points on the board. I certainly don't think that they're going to pull it out, but I think they can stay within that line.
Just to put things into perspective, Mr. Schlicker, Kenneth Walker III, the guy's rushed for over 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns this year. Every time he touches the ball, he averages 6.5 yards a carry. The guy is a stud. Kyle, who are you taking in this one? Michigan State at Ohio State.
I'm also going to take Michigan State. I'd love to see a good old upset over there. Plus the points, man. I mean, it's I'm rooting all the way. As much as dominant as Ohio State is, especially and can be at home, I'm pushing for Michigan State this time.
All right. Matt, how's that beer tasting tonight? Is it delicious as usual?
Fabulous as usual.
Okay. All right. What are you drinking? What are you partaking in tonight?
Miller Delight.
Oh, Miller Delight. Okay. We might have to blur that out. We don't have a deal with Miller Lite yet. All right. It's all good. I'm just kidding. Yet. Get it together, Miller Lite. We got Matt here. Matt. And I'd love they'd start the commercial with Matt cracking a beer. Hey, my name's Matt Meyer from Nebraska Hawk's Nest. When's the last time you had a Miller Lite or Delight? All right. Matt, who are we taking in this one?
I am following suit with MSU on this one as well. Purdue failed me last week. I picked Purdue to not allow Ohio State to cover the spread, but Purdue let Ohio State put up 59 points on them. I just don't think Michigan State's going to allow Ohio State to put up that many points, and I think they're going to put up more points than Purdue did too, just with that run game. And I think they're a little more balanced, Michigan State is, so it's going to throw Ohio State's defense off balance a little bit more. So Ohio State is rolling offensively. I mean, they're putting up points, but 19's a lot against Michigan State. They're having a heck of a year.
All right. Everybody's on the same page on that one. So cracking beers at the same time, making the same picks, everything.
Which just means Ohio State will win by more than 19. So
Jerry, after you picked, I almost changed my mind on that one.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that vote of confidence.
That's what Matt said.
Matt's probably got the exact opposite record I do this year because Matt's been picking every game opposite of what Jerry does. So.
That's what Matt said. He goes, I make my picks beforehand, and then whatever Jerry picks, I do the opposite.
that would explain his success.
All right.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
All right, guys. We got going up next 6-4 Purdue. They're going to be going to Northwestern, who's 3-7, and it's actually not at Northwestern; it's at Wrigley Field. Interesting place to have a football game. I saw the layout there; they just barely eke that field into there. And correct me if I'm wrong. And Russ, I don't know if you've heard this. When they play games at Wrigley Field, they only play one direction, don't they?
I believe so. Yeah, I think
It's at least in the past. That's the way it's been.
That's the way they've done it in the past.
Okay. To me, that's just odd, but
I think they're on the same sideline too.
Maybe
And
they might be.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then they go one direction is what I believe I've heard. It's kind of crazy.
All right. Well,
it's kind of like a half-court basketball game when you're a kid. Maybe when you get to the 50, you got to do a U-turn and start running back the other way again.
I think the idea of it playing at Wrigley is cool. I just don't know how functional it is. But I'm going to be watching. I want to see this one go down. Let's see. We got Purdue favored by 11 in this one. Purdue is just a team. There's a few of these teams in the country and in the Big Ten as well. I cannot figure them out for the life of me. Jerry, who do you got in this one? Purdue favored by 11 at Wrigley Field against Northwestern.
I got Purdue. Northwestern's defense, for as poor as they are, I see Purdue being able to dink and dunk them all day long. So I'm taking Purdue in the points.
All right, Russell, the muscle. Who you taking in this one? Purdue versus Northwestern.
I've got Purdue in the points as well. I think Purdue's just got too much offensively for the Northwestern defense to keep up with. So.
All right, Schlicker the picker. Who do you got in this one? Purdue at 3-7 Northwestern, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
Well, I've got a good story for you first.
Oh yeah,
on the Navy base, I was there 14 years, and we would trade community service with the Bears. The Bears rookies would come up, and we would show them around the facility, show them our training and stuff. And I'd always kick. There's actually videos on YouTube of me kicking. Against the Bears rookies, like 60-yarders and stuff. It was a lot of fun. But Northwestern would come to practice on the Navy base. And I always thought that was so weird, taking the team out of their environment to go practice somewhere else. It was a whole day's logistical mess operation kind of stuff. And I'd go out there with my footballs, and I'd start kicking like as driving. And I remember Coach Fitz coming up to me and asking me what my name is. And I told him, and he remembered. He's like, what do you, and we struck up a conversation, and he was blown away. And then I stayed and watched, his kickers, couldn't even hit a 30-yarder at the time. Anyway, I'm going with Purdue on this one. I just think, I think as much as I like Fitz, he's a good guy. I always thought that was really weird. I don't like that I don't like this whole, let's play a game at Wrigley, and playing only one way. I think that's really odd. I think it throws the team mojo off. I think it throws I don't know. I just don't like it. So I'm going with Purdue, man.
All right. So Kyle, real quick, then case of beer on the line, your whatever your favorite brand is, but how far it says you got to hit your max distance. How far out could you kick it right now and still feel confident you're going to split the uprights?
Wow. Hurt myself probably 50 yards. I'm sorry, not hurt myself 50 yards. Hurt myself. I could still hit a 60.
Well,
that's always kind of been I have a field goal post in my front yard. I actually it's 18 feet high. My son and I were watching a game several weeks ago, and I was like, my son was like, I want one of those, and I was like, screw that, let's go to Home Depot, and I got bags of concrete, and I got PVC pipe and neon yellow spray paint. I'll send you guys a picture. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It's like that new Dr. Pepper commercial where they think the goalposts have been stolen.
Kids swinging on the goalpost. Interesting design guy here.
That was actually Kyle's house. They filmed that out.
It is. If Matt and I were to ever build goalposts for our kids, it'd be like Dale and Brennan building the bunk beds on Step Brothers. No power tools. What?
No, I think I spent about $100, and I dug the 3-foot hole myself, poured the concrete, let it set. I put a PVC pipe hole and everything. You can take everything apart. So like when the football season's over, I'll take it apart and I'll put it in my garage and I'll set it right back up.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Next year is going to be an actual field with hash marks.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just pulled a hamstring thinking about a 50-yard field goal just sitting here. So
I can barely kick an extra point. So.
I still coach kids around the area, and I kick with them. Like I don't just stand there and And I don't outkick them. I'm just saying, I like to provide them. They'll videotape me. I'll videotape them so we can kind of compare and contrast. So I still stay in shape. I'm only 38 too, so I'm not quite there yet.
You don't go in coaching these kids like, you suck. I can hit a 60-yarder. Sit down.
Watch this. Watch this.
It depends on what their attitude is. If I've had a couple kids who are pretty, they think they're top shit. And, this day and age with social media and, how many likes you can get, like kids these days, I have kickers who I've had to retrain their psyche to think they'll post, they'll spend all day trying to kick a 55-yard field goal. They'll miss every single one of them, but that one that they made, they'll post it. And then the perception is that, hey, I'm awesome. I kicked a 50-yarder. But what the public doesn't see is that they missed 20 before that. And, I tell them, like, look, if you're going to do that, like, get to the point where you can make 10 out of 10 50-yarders and post the whole damn video. Because that's what people want to see. People want
separate yourself.
Yeah. I mean, people, practice is easy too. Like, it all depends on how you produce results for your team during the season. I could kick all day long with no pressure, with no.
How many seconds do you even get to kick that ball? It's like 2 seconds is all right?
At Iowa, all 3 years I was the starter, we averaged 1.32 seconds.
That's incredibly fast.
Dude, yeah. I had the best snappers and holders. It was incredible. If it was, I give all the credit to the field goal block team, my snappers and holders. They were nuts. They were nerds about their jobs. It was awesome.
I can only think of one thing I can do in 1.32 seconds, and it's nothing to brag about. So Jerry's like, I don't get it.
Jerry.
All right, Matt, who you taking in this one? Purdue against Northwestern. Purdue's favored in this one by what are you saying, Jerry?
I just was going to say it's been so long he can't remember my pick, so he's got to do this one on his own. So,
I don't know, Matt. Matt, who you taking in this one? The Boilermakers and the Wildcats at Wrigley Field.
I'm not going to change anybody's mind here. I got Purdue as well. Only 11 points on the spread against Northwestern. That really surprised me. It wasn't way more than that because Northwestern's struggling on a lot of aspects of their game this year, which is uncharacteristic of Pat Fitzgerald. Usually he's got them rolling by this time, and they're going to compete for the West, championship spot. But Purdue's going to put up some points on that secondary of Northwestern, and I think Purdue's defense is good enough to keep the struggling offense of Northwestern at bay. So I think Purdue has this one easily.
Hearing some grumblings here around that Jeff Brom might be entertaining some job offers from some open positions already. So we'll have to see how that plays. Oh,
that's number 3.
Trace.
Oh man,
what are you drinking there, Kyle?
What is that?
You won't find a beer in my fridge that's less than 7%. This one is
wow.
This one's 8% made by Voodoo Ranger. This thing is I'm
having fun, he says. That's great. I like it.
That's great.
Well, somebody who is not having fun right now, Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano. They're only 5-5. They are turning it around, though. I think Schiano is a wonderful coach. They are traveling to Not So Happy Valley, the land of James Franklin, for now. This one's going to be on BTN. Penn State's favored by 17.5. Is anybody smelling upset, Jerry? What are you thinking on this one?
I'm seeing Penn State at home. It looks like a noon kickoff, which, it's not going to be any kind of a whiteout or anything fancy. But anyway, I still think Penn State at home. Rutgers is used to playing in front of a high school stadium, so they get in front of 100,000+. So I've taken Penn State. I think Penn State still got the mojo in this one. So
Jerry, don't be disrespectful. That was the birthplace of college football.
I know, and it stayed in its infancy. So.
I'm telling you, that's the reddest stadium I've seen in my life. The walls are red, the seats are red, the press box is red. I mean, happy Valentine's Day. That place is awful. But it's a fun place to go if you're a fan. I highly recommend it. I almost got kicked out of a Rutgers tailgate when we were there. Matt knows this story because we had purchased. No, Matt was not there.
I was not there.
Oh, really? Really?
No,
I just heard the story, so I guess there's that.
Mrs. Meyer at home said, "No, you're staying home. You're not going to this one."
Got to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Continue, Adam. Though, sorry about that.
But we had a space that we purchased, but we had to take an Uber down there from the hotel because it was so difficult to get down there. And the parking attendant tried to give our spot away, and I'm sitting there in my chair drinking in my spot. No car, but I'm sitting there drinking, and I got a little cooler full of beers, and I'm sitting there drinking, and a bunch of Iowa fans crowded around me. There's probably about 13 of us in my little spot hanging out drinking, and he was like, "If you don't park a car here, you got to get out of here." And I said, he said, "I'm calling the police," and I said, "Call the police. I got my parking pass right here." And he went, and the cop came over, and the cop was super annoyed. He's like, he thought it was going to be like a drunken disorderly or something like that. It was way too early for that. But he was like, he told him, he's like, "Guy, he's got a parking pass. Like, leave him alone. Like, I'm not wasting my time on this." And the guy was furious about it. So score one for old Adam on that one.
Not a boy.
Yeah. All right, Russell, the muscle. Who you taking in this one? The Scarlet Knights and the Nittany Lions on the Big Ten Network. Penn State favored by 17.5.
I think James Franklin is lost. I think most of his team is lost at this point. They've really kind of slid in the last 3 to 4 weeks here with some untimely losses. I'm going to take Rutgers plus the 17 points. I'm going to go against Jerry here. I still think Penn State probably wins, but I think Rutgers can keep it close.
Okay. Hot take. I agree. I think that, that's my thought on it, but hey, I'm not picking, so I need to shut my mouth. Kyle Schlicker, who are we taking in this one? Rutgers at Penn State.
This is a tough one, but I'm going with Penn State on this one. It's a tough place to play. No matter what, I think even for Penn State team, it's tough to beat at home. I'm going with Penn State, man.
All right, Mr. Matt Meyer.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Rutgers on the points on this one as well. I think Penn State's kind of derailing. I think they're lost as a team. I think they don't know where James Franklin's head's at, if he's actually at Penn State or not. They've been slipping defensively down that chart. Wisconsin's got that one spot, and I guess I don't know from there where they're actually sitting at exactly. But Rutgers is coming off of a big win as well. I mean, they smoked Indiana, just destroyed them. So, they got a lot of confidence coming into this game as well. I don't know if Rutgers will actually beat Penn State because I think the talent level at Penn State's there still, obviously, and the players are still going to want to win as well. But I think they keep it closer than 17.5 anyways. And, taking Rutgers on the points.
I love it. All right, boys. The next one, we're moving on to the fighting Brett Bielemas are going to be without their Brett Bielema this week, coming to Kinnick, where dreams go to die. 8-2, the Hawkeyes are. This one's going to be on FS1. Just want to throw in to everybody listening to the Swarm the 402 podcast. Next week at the Nebraska game, we will be doing a tailgate party at the Lincoln Salt Dog Stadium at Hawks Field. I love that Nebraska's baseball stadium's named Hawks Field. That's fantastic.
How did that slip by them?
It had to have been before they joined the Big Ten.
When the Hawks family makes big donations, it kind of speaks. So
Yeah,
it's because it's the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's why, Jerry.
Yeah.
Don't you disappoint me like that.
Jerry, quit being so reasonable. We're trying to make a joke here, and you're trying to be like an adult. Okay,
I know. Somebody's got to be.
Yeah, I know. We appreciate it.
Touche.
So we're going to be having a tailgate though in the parking lot at Hawks Field there where the Lincoln Salt Dogs play. We got a charter bus rolling into town. Gonna have the Hawkeye hype kid and his family with us, and the boys from Nebraska Hawks Nest. Kyle is a long ways away. I don't think Kyle's going to be making the trip up for that game. Are you, Kyle?
I'm sorry, guys. I won't be there, but I'll be there in spirit.
All right, that's all good. We kind of figured you weren't going to be able to make the trip, so we're going to FaceTime you in.
We'll FaceTime you in. There we go.
Yeah, we're going to FaceTime you in. So it's going to be a good time. A lot of food, a lot of drinks, and a lot of fun. So,
Allie, sorry, I'm missing it.
Oh yeah, man.
I'll find some crazy 7% beer that I can drink in your honor.
Yeah, then we're gonna have to carry Matt into the stadium after that.
Hey, as long as I'm there.
I'll get you there, buddy. Don't worry. I got your back. So come join us for our Nebraska Hawks Nest tailgate. It's going to be a good time. Going to have a big bus there. And, we need strength in numbers. We don't want to get, beat up while we're there. So we come in peace. All right, guys. Illinois at Iowa.
You've got Russ Zilla coming, so what are you worried about?
That's true.
I ain't scared. Russ Zilla's there. I ain't scared.
That's true.
And he looks way bigger against the Lincoln skyline than he does against the Chicago skyline. So
that's true. If anybody says anything, I'm going to say, "Hey, walk over there, Russ Zilla." And they're going to be like, "All right, no dice." Russell the Muscle's in the house. I kind of forgot about that, so sorry, man. I feel a lot better.
Russ Zilla.
I feel way better now. All right, back on track here. The Hawks are favored by 12. Going into this game, I watch the press conference every week. I just like to get the temp on how things are going. Kirk says Spencer Petras might get in the game. It blows me away how that can be the case. And again, like we said, no Brett Bielema in that game. Illinois has got a pretty solid running back in Chase Brown. Averaging 6 yards a carry for 851 total yards. Now, Illinois, again, is another one of those teams like Purdue. They win games they have no business winning, and then they get beat by teams they should beat. So Bielema is still putting it together there. I'm sure he's got to be really disappointed coming to Iowa City his first year as Illinois head coach that he's not going to be able to be out there. But, along with your pick, I want to hear from each of you. Jerry, who you taking in this one, and Coach Bielema not being on the sideline, is that going to really affect the Fighting Illini, or are they going to go out business as usual?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm going off the precept that it's senior day, and I think Padilla is gaining confidence each week. And my pick is going to be Iowa because the Iowa by 12, I could see it being like a 27-14, 28-14 game somewhere in there. I'm going to probably have to defer to somebody like Kyle to, let us know how much the head coach being absent is, going to affect them. I think Kyle, wasn't Bielema around, or was he gone by the time you played at Iowa?
He was there my freshman year. And every time I walked down the hall of the Jacobson Athletic Building, he'd say, "What's up, Schlick? What's the word?" And coming from Ankeny, like no one had ever said that to me, and I remember legitimately thinking like of a word to say. I was just an awkward freshman. He would say, "What's the word?" That was the thing. What's the word? What's the word? And I literally would catch myself thinking of a word to say. Hey, you know what? Brett Bielema, he was an awesome guy. Treated me. I mean, I didn't spend much. Him and Coach Philbin too. Only spent 1 year with them. Absolute phenomenal guys. They made me feel real comfortable my freshman year. It was a good experience.
Yeah. Very cool. So, Kyle, how big of a difference does that make, regardless of who it is, the head coach being out like that with COVID? I mean, if the head coach's presence isn't on the sidelines, how much does that affect the player? Like with you, I mean, where you've got a special teams coordinator that's there, and how much does that affect the players not having the head coach there?
I don't think it. You know what? If your head coach has a good system in place, and everyone is on the same page, everyone's on the bus, there shouldn't be a problem. Case in point, Penn State, 2004. Coach Ferentz wasn't there all week. Brian Ferentz wasn't there all week, and we went there. It was a hard struggle, but we pulled out the win. And I think this one's tough because it's his first year here, and I'm sure he's got the experience too. So I'm sure he's got the systems in place for this. They've already thought about this. I at least hope that they did, that they have. But with your players, you never really know how it can affect them. I think they'll be okay because really the plays are there. No matter who calls them, you just have to execute them on the field. In my opinion, again, I was just a kicker, but in my mind, I think to myself, like, look, the plays are the plays. It doesn't matter who's calling them. You just have to execute them. You trust that the coaching staff has trust in their absent head coach.
Yeah. You were just the kicker, Kyle. So let's revisit that. Who scored all the points in that 6-4 game that year?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's something I tell my kickers, like they, the importance of, I don't bring it up too much, but I was the leading scorer all 3 years that I was starting. And I think if you're good at your job as a kicker, you should be. I mean, you're on the field multiple times throughout a game. If your coach trusts you, if your team trusts you, and you're doing your job, you should be, and everything's going well, you should be the leading scorer. And again, that was never one of my goals. My goals was just to help the team succeed and win every week. But it just ended up that way. And I mean, if you look at the history of kickers in the NFL, kickers in college, I mean, we statistically speaking are the leading scorers of the team just because we're on the field to score points, arguably the most.
Yeah. I was really hoping you would have done your Batman voice and said, "I won the game."
You know what? That game, I'll never forget preparing for that week before. My Coach Erb, he was a special teams coordinator. And, again, about special teams coordinators, like they don't really do much with kickers. I mean, kickers, you're kind of on your own. If anything, they are a consultant for, resources, if they have connections with NFL kickers, if they have connections with, how to, mine, Coach Erb was amazing with hooking me up with good film to watch and just a good guy to sit down and talk to about dealing with adversity when, things were going wrong. But ultimately the kicking's up to me, you know what I mean? It's up to me and the rest of my teammates picking me up. But, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where were we? What were we talking about?
we started out on the train of what it's like not having your head coach there. So I think you've answered that for us. So the train may have went off the tracks here a little bit.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love story time with Uncle Kyle. It's my favorite.
Gather around, kids, on the reading carpet.
That's good stuff.
Like last week with Pat, man, like he hasn't reached out to me yet, but I'd love to have some conversations with him. But, as a kicker, I think that you're obviously tuned into the game, but I was also trained to like not pay attention to what the situation was, like, not know how far of a field goal it is, not know what the situation is, because that can, I think, trip you up if you know that there's only 2 seconds left and it's against Michigan on the north end zone on the 20th anniversary of the 1985 The Kick. I'm talking about something that happened to me. Like that can really mess with your psyche, I think. But so.
All right, Jerry, who you taking in this one?
I'm taking Iowa. Like I said earlier, I think Padilla's getting confidence. I think, I think the game plan, I don't know whether Bielema is going to make a big difference, but I like, senior day, last home game of the year, Kinnick. I'll take Iowa in the 12. But again, that's probably a pick from my heart also.
I wonder if any of us are ever going to pick against the Hawks. I'd love to see it and see everyone just turn on them immediately. We kick them right out of the podcast, but that won't happen. Everybody's voice matters here. Russ, who are you taking in this one? We got Illinois at Iowa.
Well, here, let me change my picks here real quick.
No picks for you.
No pressure for Russ Zilla here, I guess. I think I think there is probably a little bit of impact with Bielema not being on the sideline and, not being at practice most of the week, and a lot of reliance on the assistant coaches to, put in the game plan, and, are they driving the same level of discipline that Brett probably does and, on a weekly basis. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out in the game. I'm a little confused on, who's going to be our starting quarterback on Saturday. I think Padilla probably starts, but, there's always a saying in athletics that you don't lose your starting position because of injury. So do they let Petrus come in and see if he performs in that first quarter? So I am actually taking Illinois plus the 12.5. I think Iowa wins the game. I don't know that I see them covering the 12.5 points, though.
They say that you don't lose your job from an injury. That's garbage. That happens all the time. Ask Tom Brady. Like, that's how he got his job. Like, they do say that, though. I think that rule's dead. I mean, I think if you get injured and the next guy comes in and outplays you, you're done. But I could see, like, the one last person on the planet holding on to that old rule would be Coach Ferentz. I could totally see it. But you're right, Russ. Like, they say that especially in the NFL, but you hear him say that all the time. And Kyle, they don't stay true to that at all. If they like what they see better, they go with the hot hand. I'm praying to the football gods that we roll with Alex Padilla the rest of the way. But who's your pick in this one, Kyle?
My pick is Iowa. All the way through. One thing I was going to say too is, like, back in talking about the Penn State game, back in the day, Coach Ferentz was gone, and he was off doing something, so we didn't want him to be, what I'm getting at is, like, nowadays, I'm sure Brett Bielema has presence. They have Zoom, they have social media. Like, those players are seeing him every single day, whether it's on a, TV screen or whatever. We didn't have any of that back then. We just trusted that, and hey, look, you're the coach, you're the assistant coach, you're the offensive coordinator, you're this, you're that, you're in charge. Like, I'm the talent, and I'm going to execute whatever you say. So, but still, with that, I'm going with Iowa.
All right, Mr. Matty Ice. What are you thinking in this one, Matt? This could be a tricky one. We got Illinois coming into Kinnick. I don't know. What do you think?
Easy. Iowa covers the points.
Okay.
Illinois. Without Brett Bielema there all week, I think the assistants that are there are too fresh. I don't know that they can have everybody on the same page this quickly. I know that we're 10 games in now?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not a lot when you're talking college football and how many moving parts there are. Iowa's defense is gonna hold that rush game. I know Illinois likes to run the football. They're gonna force those passes and force to our awesome secondary, and I think the takeaways are gonna outweigh that, and Illinois allows a lot of yards too. So if Padilla plays well like he's been playing, then I think we're going to be able to put up some yards and put up some points against Illinois. And
all right. Kyle, man down.
Voodoo Rangers kicking in.
Oh, geez. I'm just glad.
Kyle passed out.
I'm glad that didn't happen to Jerry. I would have hoped he had his life alert ready.
POV, Kyle's passed out. Revive.
Oh, man. All right. I love your pick, Mr. Miller Delight. Matt Meyer, I love it. It sounded great. We got our next one coming up. Really a team that's could be the hottest team in the Big Ten right now. The 9-1 Michigan Wolverines going to, in Matt and I's opinion, the worst place in America to watch a college football game. The Maryland Fighting Turtles. They are 5-5. This one is going to be on the Big Ten Network. We got Michigan favored by 15 in this one. Pretty sure I think where everyone's heads are going to be at on this one. All right. Jer Bear, who you taking on this one?
Jer Bear, nice. I'm going with Michigan on that one. Oh, enough said.
I think we broke Russ.
Why I even talk to you guys, I have no clue at this point, but that's all right. I'm going Michigan.
Look at Russ.
The train is derailed.
Oh, we broke him.
Oh,
All right, Russ, who are you taking in this one? Michigan at Maryland.
Oh, that game. Okay. I've got Michigan. I hate to put my pick on Michigan. I'm not a big Michigan guy, but or Harbaugh guy for sure. So, but yeah, Michigan, I think easily covers the 15.
Okay. All right. Mr. Schlickler, who are you picking in this one? Michigan at Maryland on the Big Ten Network.
Well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen, and I'll tell you what I want to happen. I think Michigan's going to take it. I'm picking Michigan, but I definitely want an upset. I mean, I hate Michigan so much, but at the same time, they're rolling, man. It'd be stupid of me to go against them and not pick them to win. But deep down inside of me, I want Maryland to just, sneak something up and upset them. But I'm picking Michigan.
You never know with the Jim Harbaugh team. There's usually a game or two every year where they just come out flat, and that has not happened yet.
Yeah.
So
It'll be next week.
Yeah, it could be against Maryland.
Ohio State.
Yeah,
against Ohio State. Yeah.
Yep. That's been the trend. All right, Maddie, who are you taking in this one?
Yep, I'm taking Michigan as well on this. Even with the points, Michigan's got things rolling. Maryland's terrible. They're allowing everybody to do whatever they want offensively on their defense. So, I mean, they're having their way. So, it's pretty good decision. I mean, on my side, from what I've seen stats wise, to take Michigan. A lot of their games in the last 3 or 4, Maryland's gotten blown out too. So that 14 points, I'm surprised it's that low. So
go ahead, Jerry.
Michigan's
go
playing well.
ahead. Yeah. Well, sorry, Adam. I was getting a little ahead of myself. If you wanted to finish up on the Maryland-Michigan game, so
nope, I'm good. What did you have to say?
Well, last week, you as you started this out, you've made your disdain for Maryland pretty evident. Last week, you even mentioned it, and so I contacted the lovely Miss Janie, your better half, and said, do you have any photos when they went sightseeing around the DC area instead of going to Maryland? So she was kind enough to provide me with some photos here of the Matt and Adam's DC vacation when you skip. Now, the first one was Ryan Field, but you guys are laying there.
Oh yeah.
I thought maybe you broke in when they weren't playing, but I was told that's actually how much of a crowd they get during game time. So anyway, both teams were in the locker room, and that was basically at halftime. You guys ran out and got that photo taken. Anyway,
that field turf feels so nice on your skin, doesn't it, Matt?
It does. It does. Your elbows just sink in.
And here you are in the front lawn of the White House. I assume you must have been far enough out for security by that point.
Oh, Matt's got a story about that, actually.
Totally not planned. All right.
Matt had a moment of insanity where they had extra security out in front of the White House, and we go, oh yeah, why is there so much extra security out here? And then they go, yeah, because somebody jumped the fence earlier today and tried to run to the door. And Matt goes, yeah, I'm going to jump the fence right now, see if you guys can catch me. And I was like, what? Like, what are you saying, Matt? And the guy goes, you say that again, we're taking you down.
The look on that photo, though, I think whatever it was, I think you could describe that as giddy. I think giddy is the word for those expressions.
We were very happy to see the White House.
I'm not gonna apologize for being an American.
Yeah. Well, then you must have moved on because then you're in the Lincoln Memorial, and I mean there you guys are in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and that's a great photo. You two are both styling. Adam's got the little knee out. You guys have an Instagram influencer future ahead of you.
I'm not really sure what the Razorback shorts are about. But.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
I got family that live in Arkansas. It was a gift.
Of course you do.
So anyway, and then the next one was very poignant. It's enjoying a sunset.
Yes.
I'd always heard Washington D.C. had a crack problem. I just never realized what that. I thought it was drug related, but anyway, so.
It is not, as you can clearly see.
Oh man,
that's the best one right there. Can I frame that?
Yeah,
that was impressive Photoshop work, Jerry.
We'll get Janie to send these to you. I was very happy that she was forwarding these to me. So the last one, I'm not sure. I think the Smithsonian must have had a display going on. Because I don't exactly know where this one fit, but it was like, it was like Matt and Adam. It must have been a Titanic. Was there a Titanic display?
Yeah. And then, I see Bruce Wayne in the background.
Yeah, and then in the back, there's Kyle Slicker in his tuxedo again. I don't know what that was about. But I don't know what this was, guys.
I know what that was about. That was about drinking lots of beer and having a good damn time.
Anyway,
we were king of the world. Look,
yeah. So from here on out, we've got these pictures to keep us company when you guys talk about how miserable Maryland was and you went out on the town. So
I try on a dress one time, and you gotta broadcast it to the world.
Well, yeah,
I don't know, Harry. The twerps are assholes.
That was a fun trip. That really brought back some memories. That was fantastic.
That did.
I bet it did. So
flashbacks.
Man, what a life we live. It's great to be an American.
Anytime you can get on a pirate ship with Bruce Wayne and do the King of the World is a win.
Yeah. I'm going to be having a conversation with Janie. That was our private family photo album that she released. So not cool. Not cool. All right, boys. This next one, this is going to be the one that I'm fired up. I might flip a table right now. I really want this one bad, and we need it. 3-7 Nebraska Cornhuskers going to the land of cheese and beer, to Wisconsin, who is 7-3. We need the Cornhuskers to win this one. I am, for one of the very few times in my life, will be rooting for Nebraska in this one. The line is Wisconsin favored by 9.5. This one is on national television sets at 2:30 in the afternoon on ABC. It's a big one. Jerry, who are you taking in this one? Nebraska at Wisconsin.
As much as I want Nebraska to win it, I got to go with Wisconsin the way they're playing right now. Doman's out for Nebraska. Undergoing the surgery, concentrating on the NFL. I got to go with Wisconsin on it, but it's a big one. We need a Nebraska to win this as Hawkeye fans. So it's going to be a little bit of I'll be pulling for the Huskers as much as I can. I just don't know. It goes against the grain for me a lot of times, but I'll try.
All right, Russzilla. Adrian Martinez, the guy's had a pretty solid year. He just always makes a big mistake at a very inopportune time. He's thrown for over 2,500 yards this year and ran for 502. So he's our leading rusher and passer. So I'm not really sure who. I think Nebraska's got a better chance in this one than most people do because they've really hung in with everyone. They just haven't been able to close the deal. Russ, who are you taking in this one?
My question is who's calling the offensive plays this week? Is Frost calling everything from the sideline? He doesn't have a coordinator.
I talked to a few people today, and there's some volunteer coaches and some analysts that got moved up to help coach the offense. I don't know. I don't know who the heck's coaching the offense. Just, some guy, volunteer coaches is what I was told. So
maybe it's my buddy Corey put on it. He's going to be on the sideline. I don't know. 69% of the money in Vegas and on the money line bets are coming in on Nebraska.
Really?
So 70% of the people that have bet the money line are thinking Nebraska's going to win the game.
All right.
I, on the other hand, think that Wisconsin covers the 9.5. I mean, as much as we need Nebraska to win, they're coming off a bye. They need, something good to happen for their team going into a recruiting season and into next year. I just don't think it's this week.
All right, Kyle. The University of Nebraska offered our good friend Kyle Schlicker a gray shirt. No offense to gray shirts. He's not a gray shirt player. That's a scholarship athlete you're talking to right there. And we want to find out what your pick is on this one. Nebraska at Wisconsin. Scholarship kicker Kyle Schlicker. Who you taking?
Oh. Boom.
Well, just so you know,
I didn't bring enough. I'm out.
You got enough time before your pick. Run to the fridge quick.
Well, I mean,
Don't tempt me.
Gray shirt offer. You're on scholarship. You just have to wait a semester. You're a regular student for the first semester until more scholarships open up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good deal. I just had a better experience, man. I mean, it all that story I told you about Frank Solich and me going there for a camp. I was invited, and no one knew who I was, and it was not that I needed anybody to like, hey, Kyle Schlicker, oh my gosh, wine and dine me. I didn't need that, but it was a little astounding, and that's a whole story for another time.
If they're recruiting you, they should know who you are.
Well, that's kind of I was at the phase of my senior year where that was important, like that was kind of like who do I want to be surrounded by for the next 5 years? Like what kind of people do I want to be around for the next 5 years? And I remember going to that camp and with a gray shirt offer by Dan Young. I think he was the offensive line coach at the time. I don't know if you remember Dan Young for Nebraska. He was a super old guy.
I don't.
He was their recruiting coordinator / offensive line. And you know what? I became good friends with him. He was a great guy. But anyway, you know what? With everything that's happening with Nebraska right now, my soft side, I'm going with Nebraska on this. I really want them to kind of finish the season well. I want Scott Frost to kind of figure things out. I want kind of these things to because of my experience with Nebraska, again, I had such a great experience visiting them, and I almost went there, man. I almost committed. I really did. But that was also early 2000s when they were hot, and I will say this, I have a feeling if they keep Scott Frost and they give him a 10 to 15 year commitment, Nebraska in I'm going to say 5 years is going to be rolling. And I hate, I'm not going to say they're going to beat Iowa. I'll never say that. But I'm going with Nebraska on this one. The Badgers, man, I had a lot of success playing against the Badgers. And I always, every time I talk to a Green Bay fan or a guy that I'm friends with up in the Wisconsin area, I always reference the UHF movie with Weird Al Yankovic. Badgers? We don't need no stinking Badgers. We don't need no stinking Badgers. And I love making that reference to younger folks because they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about.
I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, you know what? I'm
you gotta look it up.
It's classic.
Look up the movie and watch it. It is oddly weird, but it's one of those movies that it's on my top 10 list.
What's it called?
UHF.
UHF. Weird Al Yankovic.
My dad back in the day was a movie distributor for all the blockbusters, all the family videos, all the mom, pa, and corporate video places back in the day. So as a kid, I would get screening copies of all these movies that were coming out. And when I'd go visit my dad, I would walk into this room and he'd have all these VHSs on a shelf, and I could just pick. And plus, visiting my dad, I came. My parents were divorced when I was really young, so he let us kind of watch whatever we wanted to watch. I stumbled upon UHF as a young kid, and it became a staple in my life, and I still to this day quote that movie quite a bit. So you gotta look it up. I'm going with
Weird
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay, you said Weird Al was in that one.
He is, man. So is Michael Kramer. It was one of his first movies.
Weird Al was responsible for me having to stay home from a day of school. I had a really bad cough, and I'm eating my cereal in the morning, and he did a remake of the Michael Jackson "I'm Bad," and it was called "I'm Fat," and I laughed so hard I coughed up blood. And my parents, I spit my cereal all over the table, and I coughed up blood. My mom's like, "You're not going to school today." So, Russ, do you need to go to bed? I saw you do the nighttime.
No, I'm telling my daughter to go to bed.
Okay.
I should have went to bed an hour ago.
Okay. Yeah,
his daughter is not as afraid of Russzilla as Batman is. So.
Okay.
That is true.
Russzilla has a softer side to him. So
yeah.
All right.
Gonna
now
have to
Matt.
be Russzilla to get him out of bed in the morning.
You got a long ways to go.
Buddy.
All
right, Matt. Who you taking in this one? Nebraska, Wisconsin.
As much as I would like to say that Nebraska will beat Wisconsin, I just think that with all the 4 coaches that got fired, Nebraska has lost close all year, but they're also going up against the number 1 defense in the country Saturday. They're putting up numbers. Their offense is getting it. Can Nebraska turn any points up against that defense? I mean, that's solid numbers for Wisconsin on defense, unfortunately. So I just feel like Nebraska's defense isn't enough to tame Wisconsin's offense, and that Wisconsin's going to throw some points up on that D. So,
well, Wisconsin only allows 60 rushing yards a game. So good luck with that, Adrian Martinez. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, our final game to finish off the longest podcast in the history of man. We went real long this time. We got Minnesota 6-4 going to Indiana, who has been dreadful this year at 2-8. Gerald, who do you have in this one?
I don't know. For some reason, I'm just taking Indiana as a gut pick. I know they haven't been great this year, but Minnesota, it's at Indiana, and I don't know. It's a gut pick that Indiana will at least keep it within the 7. So
okay. All right, I like it. All right, Russzilla, who you taking in this one? Minnesota at Indiana. The Minnesota's favored by 7.
Yeah, I think they've probably got their boat patched by now, and they'll row themselves out there and take care of Indiana. So I think they'll cover the 7.
All right, they might have a hard time rowing their boat in Indiana. I don't know if there's any lakes out there, but there could be. All right, Kyle, who you taking in this one? Minnesota at Indiana.
The Gophers. I'm taking Minnesota, man.
All right. Now Matt's back with the
nice.
Good night. All right, Mr. Matty Ice, Minnesota at Indiana. Who is the Miller Lite Delight picking in this one?
Miller Delight pick of the day is Minnesota.
All right. You got Minnesota taking this one. Oh, we lost Russ.
Oh, we lost Russ.
All right. Well, that was his way of like, okay, it's past my bedtime. I'm ready to go. He was freezing up there for a little bit, but boys, had a lot of fun again. It was an absolute blast. Next week we have our last Swarm the 402 podcast of the football season. And again, Kyle, we just want to thank you for coming on with us again, man. We have an absolute blast with you being here. And hold on, Russ is coming back in. There he is. But Kyle, like I was saying, we love having you here, man. It's been an honor and had a blast, and just really love the friendship we've built with you.
Good stuff, man. Hey, I'll be here. You know me, man. I pick up my phone quickly, so whatever you guys want.
Awesome. It's been fun.
Kyle, I've known these guys for a long time, so you won't be picking it up as quickly as time goes on. So
you got to.
That's a lie. You know it, Jerry.
You got to remember, I'm in the state of Illinois, man. I don't get much of this, so anything I get, man, I love it.
Cool, man. All right, guys.
Nebraska,
have a great weekend.
Week. Right. Nebraska,
Go Hawks.
Big boys.
It's hate week next week. Be ready, boys. Let's get them.
Get them.
Right.
Go Hawks.
The Hawks.
Go Hawks.